Hello, hello. My name's Rachel. And like I said a minute ago, this is my first Zoom training. So give me a little grace when it comes to swapping in and out of all the things. And if you have any feedback afterwards, I'd totally appreciate it. My name is Rachel Farrell. I'm out of the Murfreesboro Market Center. If you remember 2 weeks ago, Mary Dunn, she taught you that very first class, and she'll teach you again next week. She's out of our Market Center as well. She's the productivity coach in Murfreesboro, and it will soon be very known, but I'm the assistant team leader in the Murfreesboro office, brand new. I haven't even gone to my first day yet, but I've been in real estate for 3 years. I have a history in training and development. My degree was in organizational communication with an emphasis in training and development, and KW has really opened up a lot of opportunities for me to get to do the things that I love to do, which is be with people and have a lot of fun. So I hope tonight you enjoy having fun with me. It's odd not hearing people breathing. So if I am like looking for a thumbs up or something, you just give it to me all night. We got this. All right. So again, my name's Rachel, and I actually printed out a map so I could show you where I am. I don't think everybody in here is from Tennessee. There's my thumbs up. I love it. Anyway, so I printed off a map so that you can know where I am. This is Middle Tennessee. You've got Murfreesboro and Nashville. That's typically where people think when they think Middle Tennessee. I live specifically in Tullahoma. If you've got clients looking in Southern Middle Tennessee, we are growing our footprint down here. Give us a call. All right. So that's about where I'm from, and that's sort of that macro view. So today we're going to talk about connecting with your market. I'm going to share the screen, but first, all right, if you can see the screen, we are going to go ahead and get started. I'm so glad that you're here. The first thing that we need you to do is go to the chat box and put your information in there. This is to grow your network. And also, I think you get points at your market center, right? Everybody knows that you've come. And if you put your name in and you leave, I'll know because this is recorded. So I'm just kidding. Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about being the real estate expert of choice. We're going to talk about connecting with your market, and this is really important. On a macro level and on a micro level, it's important for you to know what's happening in your community. You need to know the numbers. You need to know the people. So we're going to talk about how to do all of those things. All right, here is the truth. If it's been done in another market, it can be done in your market. Once it's been done, no matter where, it's just a matter of finding out how it's possible in your world. So if you've read the MREA, then you know that triangle model, where the very bottom piece is model. You want to build everything you do in that triangle, model first and then creativity second. And the truth is that there's been plenty of exciting things that have happened in other markets, and it's easy for you to be able to copy paste those things into yours, rip off and duplicate, but doing it in a way that fits your particular market. So my market's very unique. We're a very small town. We've got about 20,000 people, but we are the commerce hub of Southern Middle Tennessee. If you need a Publix, we have it. Everywhere else has a Piggly Wiggly, which is fine. Everybody loves the Piggly Wiggly. But if you're looking for Publix, if you're looking for Aldi, if you're looking for Kroger or some of those big things, our market is that. So understanding why people move to your market is important. And I'll share with you how I've gotten to know that. We're going to talk about the different factors in your current market to inform your business and focus your strategies. We're going to analyze the current real estate market trends to build your expertise. And then finally, my favorite part, this class is a very beautiful foreshadowing of our social media marketing class. It's going to happen later this year. I teach that one. That's what I'm really passionate about. But this is the foundation of your social media marketing. If you don't know your numbers, what are you going to share? Cat pictures. We love cat pictures, but you want to share numbers too. All right. Does anybody have any questions right now about what we're going to talk about? And I'm just going to tell you that the chat box for some reason is not working for me in conjunction with screen share. So if you want to say something, unmute and let your voice be heard. I'd like to hear it. Does anybody have any thoughts on what would you like to get out of today's class? Good answers. This is great. We're going to have a lot of fun talking to myself all night long. All right. Knowing and connecting with your market is all about research and preparation. So it's very important for you to connect with your market in unique and consistent ways. At a macro level, you know what's happening in your city, your metro area that you live in. What's happening in local government is more important to know now than ever since you're in this industry. For example, whenever a new development comes in, if you see a sign coming up saying, oh, they've decided to rezone to whatever, and you need to be at the hearing, who are they going to call? Who are people going to call when they pass those signs? Sometimes they call the elected officials who put the signs in the yard, but a lot of times I'll get a phone call because since I'm in real estate, I should know every single development that's happening within the Tullahoma city limits, right? So those are some important things to keep your thumbs on. At a micro level, you need to know specific facts about neighborhoods in certain parts of town so that whenever somebody says, hey, you know, I'd like to buy in Terra Estates, what does that look like? You can say, well, you know, it's about $175 per square foot. The homes were built in the 70s, and this is the average lot size. Those are some things that you need to be able to spout off. I really hope my electricity doesn't go out. Did you just see that? We've got this, my friends. Okay. If you would refer to your participants guide, and it is on page 3.5. So if you have it, it's probably a digital version, but I would highly encourage you to print this sheet out. It's got different characteristics of your individual market. So what is the inventory of your market? Does anybody raise your hand if you know how much inventory you have in your current markets right now? I'm seeing no's, and that's okay. Okay, so then the next question, what is the average number of days a home stays on the market? Do you know in your area, your town, what the average days on market are? What is the average price the home sells in your market for? Based on the inventory, what type of real estate market are you in? What are the current average mortgage rates? We're going to go through all of these and where you can find all of these answers. But all of these things are incredibly important. When somebody walks up to you and says, hey, Rach, how's the market? My response can't be, I don't know, good. Why don't we test it out together? Nobody wants to work with that real estate agent. All right. So does anybody know their numbers? Has anybody's office pointed them that direction, or are we all like fresh, extra brand new?
I am brand new, but our office does provide us with those numbers pretty regularly. I feel like at any meeting that we have, we start with those numbers, but they change all the time. So I don't know them as of today or this week. I was actually popping on to ask how we can get the guide that you were just talking about. This is my first time joining Ignite. I wasn't available the last 2 Tuesdays, but I'm not sure how to get the materials.
Yes. So I think there should be in the chat box that I can't access. Or in
I ordered the book. It hasn't got.
Oh, that's okay. I can kind of give you some ideas of what it is that if you're taking notes, I can give you some ideas of what it is that we're looking at. And then maybe that'll help with taking notes. No,
I did, as well as a couple of other people. It looks like we copied the link from our Gmails and put it into the chat. So if she has access to the chat, she can get the guide thing.
Let me see.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my chat is working and it's opening up just slowly.
I see that there's 3 chats, but I can't see what the chats are. And we messed with it a little bit at the beginning. Maybe I need to update. I don't know. So thank you very much for helping me.
Thank you guys. I don't know why it's not opening, but I see you guys have sent me the link. So it should work eventually, but the link is just basically opening to like an error. But
we'll make sure that you get it afterwards, and hopefully it'll have been so thorough that you can just write all the answers in like 100-point test. You got it. All right. Yeah, are we ready?
I got it actually. So we're good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So we are going to talk about the different types of markets. So do y'all remember, you probably took this in school. You probably remember this from real estate school, the different types of markets that you can be in. You have your buyer's market, which is when you have lots and lots of inventory and not a lot of people that are looking to buy it. So you've got more homes for sale on the market than there are interested buyers. The supply of houses is greater than the demand. There's a large inventory of houses available, and it puts your buyer at the advantage. And really, they could probably get a really good deal in a buyer's market. Now, I would like to know, are we in a buyer's market? Have we been in a buyer's market for the past 3 years? No, we have definitely been in a very, very heavy seller's market. And it's been a time that has been encouraging for people who are looking to cash out on a lot of equity. It's been encouraging for new agents. They hop in the market, they hop in the real estate world, and like houses are selling really fast if they get that good first listing, using it to leverage into other people, a little bit harder for buyers agents. But the last 3 years has definitely 100% been a seller's market. So the exact opposite would be a seller's market, which is when you have very little inventory on the market, but you have a lot of buyers trying to get those houses. And then a balanced market, you have a healthy share of buyers and sellers and a good amount of inventory. So you can see that, is it on the screen? Give me a second. So I'd like to know if somebody could answer this question. I would love this. I would like to hear your thoughts. As the market is shifting, buyer behavior, how are you feeling buyers are behaving?
Now the buyers are being more cautious because the interest rates are going higher as well. So buyers are just being very hesitant on wanting to look for anything at the moment within the last couple.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen some resources. Thank you very much for answering, John. And you're in my market center. I saw Murfreesboro right there. So go Murfreesboro. All right. So I've seen some things online where people are sharing and saying that we're in a buyer's market, where right now it's a buyer's market. The numbers right now are not showing that we are in a buyer's market. The numbers right now are still showing that we are in a seller's market. And this is one of those talking points that I think is very important. Whenever you know your numbers, you know the facts behind it, you know the reasoning behind what's happening in the market, so that you can share those things, you're able to bring context to the market for people who have none. Nationally, something is happening in the market. Statewide, something is happening in my Tennessee. Something is happening in the market. Middle Tennessee, something is happening in the market. And it probably looks different on each level. So when you're reading something from, whatever news source you're getting it from, and it says this is what's happening in the real estate market today, usually it's going to make your buyers and sellers feel good or bad. They're going to have thoughts and feelings on it, and it's your job to make sure that your market and the national market, or wherever it is that they're getting their information from, is connecting. You have to be what connects the dots between what's actually happening in your very localized market and what they're reading online. All right, so we just talked about the different types of markets. What is the inventory in your market? So this is important for you to know how many homes are for sale. Sometimes this helps your pricing. You're going to talk about that later, but the number of homes that you have on the market can dictate what you price your home at. This, for me, we are in RealTracs in Tennessee, and RealTracs offers something called Fast Stats. It comes out once per month at the beginning of the month. Since we are like statewide in this call, talk with your market center and figure out where in your MLS system you can access statistics. This is a one-pager on Tullahoma. And at the very beginning of my career, I lived by these. I lived by Tullahoma. I lived by Coffee County. I lived by Manchester. We've got the county, and then we've got the big hitter cities. And I had these numbers with me all the time. I would wake up in the morning as soon as they would come out, and then I would read them all. This tells me that in Tullahoma right now, we have 2.6 months supply of inventory. We have 127 houses on the market, which is less than last year. The percent of list price received, that's another good number for you to know. You need to have this and dig into each of these stats. I can't go into all of them tonight, but what I can tell you is that this will be invaluable to you whenever you first start trying to learn what your stats are. All right, moving on. Interest rates and lenders. So this is another one of my favorite things to talk about. Getting to know your community is very important. In your market centers, do you have a preferred lender that you work with? Do y'all have somebody like in-house, a local bank? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. So it is important for you to have a relationship with them. Lenders they are the key to what buyers actually can do. There's a lot of stuff that they do that I don't want to understand. I mean, I need my lender. I need to trust my lender to be able to do the job of a lender. I don't need to understand the intricacies of credit scores and how people got there and what they're going to do with it. What I need to know is that I can trust a person to help guide my people. So I have a couple of people that I really trust. One of them is out of of our office. And he just got into our office recently, but his name's Brian. Fantastic. I call him the 10-day wonder. He got us out of a very, very tough situation with another lender and closed on time with 10 days escrow. He did phenomenal. He's been in the business for about 16 years, and I can call Brian and say, hey, bud, tell me what's going on. What's today's interest rates? How many applications are you getting? What's the average down payment right now? What sort of products do you offer that can help buyers as we navigate this new market? And all of these questions come up as you hear buyer need. Right now, something to keep an eye on would be lenders educating realtors. The past 2 years, it's not been super hard to find and grab business. Lenders go out, they find that there's so many buyers available that they're not really having to do a whole lot of work. Kind of like selling agents, listing agents weren't really having to do a whole lot either. But those who go above and beyond are very important. So lunch and learns. I love a good free lunch. We have had several of them in our area recently where SmartBank has said, here's a new product, or here's a product you might not have heard of in a while. Let's go through it, talk through it, and see what our bank can do for you. It's very important to go to those and understand what it is that your clients can be using. It's not just a conventional loan anymore. It's not just, a cash to buy a house. It's 2-1 buy downs, 3-2-1 buy downs, arms, legs, whatever. There's no such thing as a leg. I need a laugh track. That's really, I think that's my hang up today. I'm gonna need some feedback. But the lunch and learns are really important. Keller Mortgage is also available to you.
Sorry.
There we go. You did it. Heather's you're gonna be my girl. We got this. But it's important for you to know what current rates are in your area too. So I love partnering with people. So social media is something that I really enjoy doing. I have a friend that also really likes social media. He just so happens to be the president of a bank over here. Today, he said, hey, I've got some information to share with you. And I was like, great. He sent me a picture. I posted it online, and it talks about rates. So 6.2-ish today is what we were seeing. And he did this great comparison on if you buy at 6.2% today, if you were to buy a home today, it would cost like in the high 300s, and you would be paying $2,400 per month. Where if you'd have bought last year at 2.6% interest, you could have gotten a $600,000 house at $2,400 per month. It was fantastic information. So sharing that was really nice. But again, it goes back to creating the relationships and then using the knowledge to share with your people to show that you're the agent that knows what's up. All right, we're going to talk about economic factors next. So economic factors play an important role in the market. Unemployment rate, employment rate, how many workers are entering or exiting the workforce in your market, growth rate in your community. We're anticipated to grow 1% to 2% over the next year or two. We're growing very rapidly in our area. If you look historically, our home prices have been really steady up until COVID hit, and our real estate market boomed really everywhere. But people were outpriced in Nashville. They were outpriced in Murfreesboro. They were looking for the next place to go. And we are fortunately next down the line on the interstate. There's another town next to us. What's technically right down the interstate is a town called Manchester. And we're right next to it in Tullahoma. And so Manchester, you get off of the interstate and then you come to us, but it's important for me to know what's happening in Manchester too. We've got a mega site that's going out in Manchester. There's like a 2,000 acre location that the state of Tennessee is putting out, like they're asking for bids. They want to know the next Ford, the next Tesla, the next whoever. That's who can come down to Manchester. But what does that do for us as a community? What does that do for us in Tullahoma right down the road? I'd argue that you need to know your town, and you need to know every town that is touching your town. What's happening there? How are people moving to you? Where are people moving away to? And I can show you how to do that too in just a minute. But those economic factors are really important. This can really be overwhelming to have to know all of this information in a market. I feel like in just a very short period of time, I packed in a lot of information that you need to know. Some different ways that you can make sure that you are in the places that will inform you of these things. Your local Rotary Club. If you have the ability to join your local Rotary Club, you should. Ours is like $800 a year, and the movers and the shakers in the community are in that room. And the movers and the shakers invite the other movers and shakers to speak to our club. So I've listened to the Tennessee Economic Development person. I've heard from the mayor of Coffee County, the mayor of Manchester, the mayor of Tullahoma. We have all of our city administrators cycle through. We just had the guy who's in charge of that mega site that I just told you about. He came to Rotary last week. So being able to understand what's happening in the community, you have to be a part of the community. Same with the Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is a big deal. I would not be in the position I am today as a real estate professional if it weren't for the Chamber of Commerce. I moved here and didn't know anybody, had a dream I was in real estate, and got my license 90 days later. But I didn't know anybody in town. So what did I have to do? I got on social media and blew up whatever I could in a good way. And then I joined the Chamber of Commerce. At least half of the deals from my very first year in real estate came from relationships at the Chamber of Commerce. So they've got lots to offer there, which is great. Board of Mayor Aldermen, it sometimes can feel really sticky to be involved in politics. And I get that. There's definitely a degree of awareness that we need to have as we're sharing things that are coming through any sort of political funnel. Our area is kind of in a little bit of a tizzy right now because we are trying to grow and we're trying to grow well. And, you have the people who don't want growth, who want to put up a wall around your city. And you have people who are like, we have a Publix and a Hobby Lobby. We ain't stopping now. And so it's kind of hard to decide what's happening. So reading through, hearing what your Board of Mayor Aldermen are doing, going to your planning commission committee meetings, getting to know who the economic growth person in your town is. Ours is named Winston Brooks, great guy. I see him at the Chamber of Commerce events. That's how he and I met. And then that's what kind of sparked that relationship, which has been really nice. So I think really, if anything, maybe don't give yourself a list of things to understand on the macro level, but just start getting involved. Go and listen. You'll start picking things up. And then as you start picking up what's happening in your community, you'll be able to grow that knowledge, but always be learning from that perspective. All right. Here we go. Neighborhoods. So this is super important too. Neighborhood numbers. Whenever you are at an open house, so you have somebody in your office that's listed a home and you've decided that you're going to be super proactive and you're going to show it at an open house. You need to research that neighborhood. Just pick that one. You need to know how quickly homes are selling in that neighborhood. You need to know the turnover rate in the neighborhood. How many homes are on the market, how many homes have recently sold, and what's happening. So back to what's happening in Tullahoma. You're going to know Tullahoma really well by the end of this. What's happening in Tullahoma? I live in a neighborhood called Terra Estates. It's one of the older neighborhoods in Tullahoma. Our homes were built back in the 70s. They're indestructible. I mean, I promise they're fantastic. I love these ranch style homes. But they were built on acre lots, and it's unique that we have an entire neighborhood that's built on acre lots, but we're connected to the city sewer. When it was originally built, all of them were on septic tanks. And so somewhere in my backyard, I have a non-used septic tank because we're connected to city sewer now. And this half of the neighborhood were afforded entire acre lots because that's what they needed to perk it. It's kind of a neat fact, but some other things like I live in Terra Estates. It's named after Gone with the Wind. We have 12 Oaks Boulevard. We have all of the flowers on the plantation, Ashley Drive. And all of that was built back in the 70s. Another interesting thing about Rotary for me is that the person who developed this neighborhood, the person who had insight on what to name it and how they wanted it to look, is still there. So I get to ask those questions and say, hey, give me a little fun history on this. One more funny fact about our town, we have one road, Virginia Drive, and they were so mad, they didn't like being in the Tullahoma city limits that they annexed themselves. So when you look at Tullahoma, you have Coffee County, and there's this like one little street inside of Tullahoma that is considered Coffee County. They don't pay city taxes because they annexed themselves. All right. Any questions right now? Got a laughy face. I like that one. All right. If you have an open house, just out of curiosity, like if somebody comes in and says, I like this house, this isn't the one for me. I'm looking for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath under $500,000. Should you be able to say, oh, I actually know of one. I feel like that would be something important if you're prepping for an open house. You don't just know about that house. You know about that house, you know about the neighborhood, and you know about any other comparable home in the area, so that if that buyer's unrepresented, you can say, hey, give me 30 minutes. I'm going to close this thing up, and then we're going to go take a look together. All right. I'd like some ahas. Does anybody? I'd like 3 ahas. So we're going to be here all night until 3 people give me an aha.
The Rotary, girl. I didn't know.
Rotary's awesome for a lot of reasons. I thought this is like the 75 and up club, but it's not. It's fantastic.
Exactly. I didn't even know I could do it. So
You
that's
can. Our international president is a woman, and Rotary, I have made it my mission to lower the average age in our local Rotary Club.
well, I'm 46, so I'm pushing that. So no, I'm in. Thank you for that information.
Absolutely. Anybody else? I need 2 more.
The relationship lender. I think I met him today. Brian, I don't know if it's the same Brian though.
No, Brian
It's not
Johnson
the
was
same
at the
Brian.
team meeting. Brian Nail's the one that's been in it 16 years.
Okay, yeah,
Brian-
you said 16 years. I was like, yeah, he looks kind of young.
Oh, he looks really good to have been in the industry for 16 years.
Yeah.
He actually does social media marketing. So that would be another reason why connecting with a lender would be good. If you see somebody in town that's doing a great job on social media and you want a piece of that pie, then be friends with them. Because if you're willing to put your face on there, they're willing to put your face out there.
Yeah.
All right, one more. We can do it.
Understanding
How
when
about
you do
the,
an open house.
I haven't,
Okay, I heard everybody and then I heard nobody.
Understanding how to do an open house. I like when you said to learn the neighborhood because I have never did that. So I have more information for my clients about the shopping and the restaurants and the health facility and the neighborhood attractions. I kind of like that because that's like giving them a broad broadcast of everything about the neighborhood.
Absolutely. And people love that. They want to know, how soon am I going to be at school? How soon am I going to be at Publix? When does Publix close? Those are all great things to know. Local healthcare is a big deal too. When we had Vanderbilt just buy out our small town hospital, and that was a big deal for a town that doesn't have a lot of resources. Anybody else? That was our 3. We can move on. You're not stuck here all night. All right. I got to move y'all's faces. Here we go. All right. So we're going to continue to build our expertise by becoming the real estate person of choice. So you need to learn your market, learn your clientele, listen to the individuals, and keep headlines in context. So obviously we just talked about how to learn your market. Learning your clientele is very important too. You need to know who your people are. Just in the same way, like we're target marketing. It feels cheesy to say, like, imagine your buyer, imagine your ideal seller sitting in front of you. What do they need? And then more importantly, you have to listen to the people. So it's very easy in this industry to look at something and say, well, I've been in it for 3 whole years. I do X number of transactions a year. I understand exactly what's happening. Humans are involved in this. Buyer emotion is involved in this. Seller emotion is involved in this. We can read the headlines and say buyers are generally feeling like this, but the motivation in my buyer could be completely different than what the headline's saying. So if anybody ever asks you, how's the market? You need to ask them why. Like, why do you ask? Because then it can kind of give you an idea of what facts and figures to pull out. You can give them a 15-minute spiel on the macro and micro levels of what's happening in your market, but it could gloss over everything they even wanted to know. So it's important to hear what your people are saying. So y'all know that the real estate market is cyclical. And I think that's what we're feeling right now, specifically in our area. I feel like it's Thanksgiving week, it's Christmas coming up. Our real estate market, it kind of goes with the school calendar. You're busy during the summer, and then during the school year, it's a little bit slower. But then in the springtime, you're kind of revving back up to get into the summer moves. While the market was going berserk over the last 2 years, we were still seeing that we had such high volume that you couldn't really feel it quite that much. But this year right now, not only are we experiencing some buyer hesitation because of interest rates, we're also feeling that cyclical market. We're going into the Christmas season, so not a lot of people want to move. when they have to be at granny's house 5 times. So keeping that in mind is very good. Some different ways that you can track the national market. 2 of my favorite resources is NAR. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, or if you like email, whatever way you like to get information. NAR, the National Association of Realtors, they will share thoughts and feelings on what's happening in the economy in a way that makes sense to us and is easily shareable. So I like following them. And then Keeping Current Matters. You want to get like real simple, easy to understand. Keeping Current Matters, KCM, does a really great job of sharing information on the real estate market in a way that is consistent and that you can repeat to your clients. They want you to steal their words. Go to KCM and check them out, and you should be able to find some good information to share on the national market.
Where is KCM at again?
I follow them on Instagram.
Okay.
They are on Facebook too. And well, it's keepingcurrentmatters.com. It's a subscription service. You can have them post on social media for you. I don't recommend that, but all of their stuff is free. And they have some really good analysts that go through and can help keep you have a level head about what's happening in the market. So understanding these things also helps you to like guide your clients. So you're standing in the middle of a house. It's March of 2021. We know that we're one of approximately 100 showings that have happened over the past 48 hours. Your client loves it. They want the house. You have to explain to them the sense of urgency in the market. They're going to hear it online. They're going to hear it from their friends, but then there's always going to be, well, my stepdad Dan said that when he bought a house back in 1973, this is what happened, and I need to negotiate this too. And it would have been perfect back in that time. But today, not so much. So you have to teach and train your people. I understand what he's saying, but this is what I'm seeing. This is what I've experienced. I'm happy to do it your way, but if you're really interested in this house, then this is what we're going to have to do. And I always give them that choice. It is their choice. There have been times where I've had clients lose 2 or 3 deals because they heard the facts and they just weren't really believing it. And then finally on that 4th deal, they were like, all the cards, we're playing them, all the eggs in this basket, we're going to make this happen. Urgency sometimes feels a little fake to me. I try whenever I'm talking to people not to use a lot of gimmicky language, just to say these are the facts. I don't like date the rate, marry the mortgage, or date the rate, marry the house. It's not one of my favorite phrases. People share it and I think it's totally fine. But to me, I want somebody to be able to buy the house affordably. The reason I got into real estate was to help people live outside of their mortgage by buying homes they can afford and using the rest of their resources to live the life of their dreams. My husband and I were dead broke in a house, and he was working 2 jobs. I was working 2 jobs with a baby. He was like 6 weeks old, and we were really struggling. And honestly, it was an act of God that we ended up moving. We had somebody come and offer cash on our house, and we moved further south into a more affordable home so that, we could live outside of our mortgage. And that was where why I wanted to be in real estate really happened. But I think it's important whenever you're using gimmicks like date the rate, marry the mortgage, you're not giving somebody who probably shouldn't be buying a house an opportunity to say, well, I'm just dating the rate. The rates are probably going to drop to 0.6% next year. Let's go ahead and buy this house, even though I'm probably going to go broke doing it. I just struggle with that. I need to know the individual client's needs. That was not a spiel I planned on going on. So let's move on. All right. So you need to know your local language of real estate. We've talked about that a lot. And then you need to notice changes over time in your personal business. It's very important for you as you grow to pay attention to your numbers. If you see yourself growing, if referral business is really working for you, then, you got to lean into that, but you're not going to know it unless you know your numbers. It's also important to, I think sometimes we beat ourselves up. I was supposed to do this, but I didn't do this. It's because I didn't work hard enough. Sometimes it's market conditions. So understanding that there's a lot in your control and there's also some things out of your control is okay too. Although I don't think that they typically like to say that. Everything's in your control. All right. So who are the buyers and who are the sellers? It's important for you to know, obviously, what each of them are doing, what their expectations are. Anybody who's selling right now, I mean, seller expectations are a little unrealistic considering the past 3 years. They missed the boat, and that's a hard conversation to have. And you might lose some potential listings by saying you missed the boat. Pricing's kind of hard right now. It's important to, if your local MLS system is offering classes on how to price, then you need to go to those. If an appraiser is coming to your office, you need to go and listen to the appraiser. If you don't have people providing those resources for you, find a local appraiser and talk to them. Some interesting things are happening in the state of Tennessee as far as appraisals go. So find an appraiser and become good friends with them. There is also a silver lining to every single market. So, right now it's really hard for some buyers. They were approved at a certain price at 4% and now at 6.2%. They're really disappointed in what they can get. And so they just want to wait for a little while. That's okay. You might have had some really well qualified buyers that have a lot of cash that now have the ability to go in and get something without a lot of competition. And that's something important to preach to. Being able to put in an offer and it not be one of 14. That has been amazing. I remember the very first deal I did it was August or September. I can't remember which month it was. And we sent an offer and then we got a counter offer. And I'm looking at this paper like, we have a counter offer. And so we sent another counter. It was the third counter. And we got back a fourth counter. And by the end of the fourth counter, we were good. Everybody was signed up and we felt good about moving forward. But I remember calling the agent Alice and saying, I just wanted to say the whole time, do you know what we're doing right now? Like, we're doing a part of the job that has really, this is why people call agents, so that we can be the fiduciary, to be able to do that piece, to be able to be the middleman on making those transactions happen, to be able to give the advice to say, yeah, you should move it this way because the numbers look like this. It felt really good. Does the market put your client at risk? And that's precisely what I was just talking about. If you have somebody that's just barely qualified and they are buying at the very top end with the anticipation of refinancing at an unrealistic rate, it's going to be important to talk through them with that. And I sometimes get a little funny about the 2-1 buy downs too, just making sure your clients understand this is your price today. Next year, the price is going to go up because the interest rate is going to increase after a year. It's really important for people to understand that. I don't ever want somebody to call me and say, Rachel, you put me in a house and now I can't do what I want to do in my life because of it. I want you to live your life because of your house. All right, listening to individuals. We just talked about that a minute ago. I think I skipped ahead while I was talking and just didn't click the buttons. So we're gonna skip this one. And then keeping the headlines in context. I talked about that a little bit earlier. You need to be paying attention to what your people are sharing. Sometimes they share it online. Sometimes they'll send it to you in a text like, hey, have you seen this article? What do you think? It is your job, like I said earlier, to keep the news in context with your local market because you know your numbers, because you know what's happening in your community. What's happening in Tullahoma is not what's happening in Chicago. So it's important for people as they're reading those things online to be able to put in perspective what's happening locally. And I would time block that every single day. Wake up in the morning and have a chunk of time set up for getting into your MLS, looking at what's hit the market, what your numbers are doing. I gave you the one sheeter. I showed you my one pager down here. There's also other ways that you can do this. Like I can actually go in and manipulate all of the different numbers so that I can see what, a specific something that I'm looking for. A timeline, a price range, in the 600,000s, homes are selling in X amount of time. In the 200,000s, they're selling in X amount of time. So take that class. That's going to be a good one. All right, my friends, any ahas? How are we feeling? Let's just
when you were talking about the appraiser,
Yes.
The team meeting today, when you said make sure you get to know them, in the team meeting today, they were talking about how we're going to get one pretty soon. And they're going to come talk to us about how all that works. So
Nice.
that put in my mind, like for sure, go to that.
You have to go to that. Definitely go there. Because a lot of what they do, it affects everything that we do. The last several years have been so strange. You look at a home and this 3-bed, 2-bath on a quarter of an acre is 300,000. Well, this one sold for $25,000 more by somebody out of California with all of the cash. So now on your third house, how do you price it? You have one for 30,000, one for 325,000. How do you price that third one? Do you split the difference? I mean, it can be kind of confusing to figure that one out. But also that puts appraisers in a really hard spot too. The article I was talking about, and I don't know enough about it to talk about it for very long on here right now, but is talking about how Tennessee is one of the states that have overappraised. I think we've overappraised more than any of the other states. So we're under some scrutiny on that one. And I feel like appraisers are going to be pulling back on their numbers. If it's on the high end of a list price, then there might be a chance that it doesn't appraise, but it's important. It's important to know your appraisers. It's also important to know them so that if you have a problem on an appraisal, you can give somebody a call. Anytime I've got a listing, if it comes in under, we had one come in $50,000 under our contract price, which was just stupid. And anytime I work with a lender, I'm like, is this person on your list of appraisers? And if they say yes, I find another lender and ask them to blacklist her, which is terrible. But she is known in our area for coming in, appraising a house, and then having a reappraisal. Like that's her MO, is to get the extra $125 to reappraise the house. That was the situation I was talking about earlier. We ended up not going with that lender because we knew she wasn't going to come up. Went with Brian, and Brian got her an automatic underwriting waiver, an appraisal waiver, because the house appraised for that for as much as we had it under contract for. I'm saying all of this to say it's important for you to know your comps whenever you are selling a house or when you are helping somebody buy a house. So finding those comps and having a relationship with an appraiser that you can call and say, do you see why they have gotten to this? If I want to dispute this, what's the best way to do that? That was a lot of words. All right, next person. Anybody else?
I have a question. You mentioned quickly about the MLS sometimes holds classes. About what though? And how do you find that out? I'm in Mississippi.
Oh man, I wish I knew more about Mississippi than just how to spell it. But the MLS
Me too, because I'm not from here.
I don't know. Join the chamber, get into Rotary. Anyway, the MLS should have some links on there. There's usually an FAQ section that'll tell you. If somebody else from Mississippi can maybe connect with Heather and get her that information. Ours, they'll send out through our market center when some of that stuff's happening. Your local organization, ours is Middle Tennessee Association of Realtors. They usually have a list of those classes too, and they'll teach you how to use the system. They'll show you how to run reports in the system, and then they should show you how to run comps, how to actually price your homes with their stuff. So I think those classes, again, are going to become even more important as time moves on, even for experienced agents. I mean, when in the history of our local real estate markets have we had something where you can have such diversity in your sales prices just because somebody had a couple $10,000 of cash that was disposable? All right, moving on, utilizing your resources. So we're going to talk about the Command apps. Do y'all already have the Command app downloaded? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Good. Okay, so it's going to have me walk you through how to do that. So if you do not have those downloaded, go ahead and do it. You should have the KW Command app and just the KW app. And they look like, hold on a second. Oh, hold on. Somebody texted me. Okay. There they are. So you've got red and then you've got the white one. So Command, we're going to start with the Command app. So if you want to go ahead and open up your Command app, I personally, as even a tech savvy-ish person, even though I can't get the chat box to work, prefer Command on my desktop. I just prefer to have it bigger in front of me anyway. I have a hard time seeing it on my phone. The Command system is so easy to use. I love seeing it on desktop. My Command app, I like to use whenever I'm sharing the other app with people and when I'm sitting in the kid carpool pickup line and I just want to have a quick mental update on what's happening in my business. I like to habit stack, and that is one of the things that I will do. If I'm sitting and I'm waiting for my kids to get out of school, I will just pop into the app and see what it is that I need to do next. How's my pipeline looking? What opportunities do I have? Who can I shoot a quick text to and say, hey, haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. How is the staging going? How is the home purchase in another state going while we wait to list their house? It just gives me an opportunity to sit and look through that. It also will show you like birthdays. so whose birthdays are coming up. I don't like sharing, saying happy birthday on Facebook. I'm not one of, 130,000 people that are going to say happy birthday, Jan. Haven't seen you in 30 years, but I'm going to put it here. I will send a direct message, or I'll write a letter, like a handwritten letter. Because then they see it, it's not, most of the time you'll see somebody say like, thank you so much for my birthday wishes yesterday. But if you give them the opportunity for direct contact, they usually will respond and say thank you. But that's another thing I like to see in there. Profit share. You can also see profit share real quick in there. So if you're interested in growing that way, then you have the ability to see that there too. Does anybody have any questions about the Command app? Like very high level. I am not a tech trainer, but does anybody have questions about the app?
Yeah, I actually, it's me again.
Hey,
I
Heather.
hey, I have a question because, I'm just learning. I'm only 4 weeks in to this profession and with KW. So I've been trying to get all my contacts in there, but I have a house under contract already. And then I also have like 13 leads. But I don't know how to update, I guess because I marked them L, and I have been calling everybody and emailing, but I don't have it synced.
Okay.
So like it says I have, like when I pulled this up, I was all disappointed. It says I have 13 leads I've never contacted again. And that's not true information, but I can't erase that off of that Command app.
I think that for that particular question, I would reach out to your tech trainer.
Okay.
Yes. Now, I mean, if you were asking how to get them into opportunities, if you're looking at this open opportunities, your little pipeline piece right here, cultivate, appointment, active, under contract. If you have leads that you're cultivating, then you just are going to have to create individual opportunities.
I just have to do. Okay. My other question is that you said so that's the Red app, the KW, and you said something about there's another one. I don't know anything about the other one.
We're about to get to it. Are you ready?
Cool.
That was a great segue, Heather. You and I, we're a good team. All right. So we've got Keller Cloud. This is
I have a question about Command. This is Cameron.
Hey, Cameron.
Yeah, so I'm in the I guess the template side of it to create posts for like social media and things of that nature. And the standard graphic for the KW just says KW DBA thing there. Where can we import or identify different files that actually have our market center on there so we can add that to our template?
Yes, so it should already be in there. You are assigned a market center once you're put into Command. So if you're in designs, if you've clicked, KW, DBA, whatever, if you click it, when you look to the left, there's a column that should say replace with. Let's connect afterwards. My email is rfarrell@kw.com. Why don't you shoot me an email and maybe we can hop on a Zoom call, or I can send you a Loom video on how to fix that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Command is going to be your best friend. So I was at another company and I had a different system, a different CRM. And like I said, I feel like I'm pretty tech savvy. But I remember like hours and hours and hours on YouTube trying to figure out how to use this other program. Command is made for agents by agents. We have a group of about 150 people that mastermind together to make it easier for us to use. If I had to tell you to utilize just one thing in Command, it's going to be updating your contacts. There's two things: updating your contacts really well and keeping up with your opportunities list. Counting apparently is not my strong suit, but that opportunities list is very important for you. Like I said, I'm sitting in the carpool pickup line and I'm looking and I'm seeing who I'm cultivating. It gives you good incentive to do your job.
I have a question. I just started to actually play around with opportunities just a few days ago. I'm started a couple months ago, but obviously dual agent, so I'm taking a little bit slower. But one of the things that I really like about it is, like you said, you can kind of see where you're at in the process with your different clientele.
Yes.
The one thing I didn't know, and maybe you're going to go into this, is like, what does cultivate mean? Because I feel like as I started to use it, I realized I had people way further down the line than I was checking them as, because I was like, cultivate's like way before you're even showing them homes and looking for all that kind of stuff. So like, can you just describe what each of those sections kind of means?
Yes. So I think that this is going to be a class that you take. Hold on a second. I meant to screen share something different. I gotta exit out of this. There we go. Okay. So
Cute family, by the way.
do what? Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
I thought the same thing.
Everybody saw my background. Yeah, that was last year. That was Logan's third birthday party. Okay, so we are going to opportunities. Oh gosh, y'all are about to see a lot about what's happening in my world. That's okay, we got this. I have none in Cultivate because honestly, so this is not a good example. So much of what I do is so localized that usually I can remember like who I'm talking to and what it is I'm trying to do. And I try and get them in here into active and under contract as soon as possible. Cultivate, I mean, watch, nurture, and hot if they're a lead. I think it just depends on how you're doing your leads. So for me, a lot of my business comes from referrals, and it's like people in my wedding and people who were, related to the people that were in my wedding, people that I know through the Chamber of Commerce. I have, referrals from other KW agents. A lot of them I'm so intimately connected with that I don't feel like I have to have this piece of it. If you're doing something like Zillow leads, if you're doing Facebook ads, and you're getting 30, 40, 50 people coming in to your pipeline at a time because of those things, I think this would be a great place to keep up with them. It's Jane and Steve and George and Mary, and I never met any of them, and none of them are top of mind for me. But I put them here so that they will be top of mind for me whenever I'm sitting and doing my work.
Aha.
Good.
I had the aha. Yeah, because I don't know those are Opcity leads. Or okay, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And Zillow leads honestly have been some of the hardest for me to keep up with. I did that back whenever I first started. I became a Zillow Premier agent to try and get some of the different leads in. And I was on that different system that I was telling you about. If I had them and were able to funnel them into Command, I know that cultivating them would have looked very differently. You're going to have a class on this though. So I would keep that in mind later on. So another thing that's really important is your referral network. I was going to talk about this earlier, and since we're out of the PowerPoint, we have deviated. This is it. I'm in here. So you're going to go to referrals. It's this button over here to the left, and then map. And I love this tool. So if I'm trying to figure out where I want to target market, what other areas I need to learn about because people are moving to my area, you come over here to your map and you're looking for referral patterns, and they are moving. I want them to be moving into Murfreesboro. So that's my market center right now is Murfreesboro. Over here to the right, you can see that it populates 2% of our referrals come from Chesapeake, Virginia. 2% of our referrals come from Chattanooga, 2% come from Tampa, Florida. So I've run ads in each of these markets, depending on the price point. But I'll run ads in each of these markets, knowing that somebody in Tampa has probably thought about moving to Middle Tennessee. And then same thing with Sense, from Murfreesboro to Chattanooga, we send them a lot of business. So anyway, I think that is an interesting tool to use. The referral network is great for finding referrals at KW, but I think that it also can give you a lot of really good data, especially when you have people who are convinced that people, in Southern Middle Tennessee, we really have had this seller complex of, cash buyer who has millions of dollars from California is going to come and outbid my property because they don't know anything about real estate. And being able to show them the studies aren't showing that that's exactly what's happening, maybe on a smaller scale. All right. Go ahead.
Can you access this on the mobile app, or is this just on?
This is just on the computer. You have access to your, let's see here. Do we have referrals on here? No, you don't even have that. Like, we have the ability to see when a referral comes in. Like, you'll see a notification that says Janet from Colorado has requested to be a referral agent. And so you'll get notified even if you get sent a referral, but you can't see the information in the app. You'll have to go to here. But this map specifically is only on the desktop. All right.
Lost a little bit on this one. So this one just for our market center, and then the market center broker is the one who kind of distribute it to other agents, or is it just they will refer it directly to you as an agent?
They would refer, it's agent to agent referrals. So if you have a client that's trying to move to Colorado, then you can type in here, let's see here, and then search map, Colorado Springs. And then you can see all of the agents over here. So I can go through and vet who I want to give a call, depending on what my client needs. In my experience, people have gone on here. This guy, Justin Drury, I would go online and try to find him and see what the reviews are online, see if he's on social media, see what it is that he's sharing, and then try and make a connection that way. Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, we should probably move on. So one more thing I'm going to show you is how to get to your app to share. So down here, you have consumer, which is a really nice tab. You should take a class on it if you don't know a lot about it. It's where your agent site lives. And over here at site app and settings, you can find the URLs. And then you see it out over here, app URL. So that's how you get to it on your desktop if you don't have the app. If you have the app, the easier way to do this is to click this hamburger menu down here, the bottom right. And then it says share my KW app link. And then it'll just send it to somebody. And when you do that, when you're assigned as their agent, when they play on the app, when they're looking for things, if they heart a house, then you'll see it on your side. All right, let's pull this back up because we're going to talk a little bit about social media. Okay, does anybody have any questions before we move on? Just high level, not anything too nitty gritty with command.
Well, actually, it's funny because me and Cameron, he's on here. I was trying to explain to him how to use the app, and I downloaded the consumer and was trying to sign on there to share the app, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I actually figured it out. But I was explaining to him like how that you can track what your clients are looking at to see, say if they're saying they want a house that's 500,000. But then you can see on the app, they're looking at something that may be a little bit lower than that, maybe 400,000, 300. You're actually seeing that live data as they're interacting with the app. It gives you, kind of like some type of, knowledge that they don't know that you're actually looking at, but you're able to say, why is this person looking at a home that they said that, they were qualified for, but now they're looking at something else without them even knowing. I think that was kind of cool. And I do have a question now. I think you're about to get into the social media. I know you can run ads through command, but I'm almost certain it probably won't work as good on the phone, but I guess you're going to probably get into that because I was interested in doing that. And is that easier to do inside command or just directly through Facebook? Because you can run ads directly to Facebook as well. So I don't know. I am tech savvy, but I don't know which would be easier or more beneficial.
I have lots of thoughts and feelings on that one. So the easiest answer, if you're looking just ground, like you're just starting and you're trying to build a foundation of advertising, would be to go just through command. Just do it through command, see what it does. The leads automatically funnel into command. You're not having to download anything from any other sources and uploading it into command. All of the leads go straight into command. So I would do that first. I do both. I will run like $1 a day campaign on all of my social media platforms. It's $365 a year to have an ad running targeted somewhere. And I'll change it up just depending on how I'm feeling, how they're doing. But I think it just depends on what your goal is. If you're advertising a listing, then definitely just run it through command so that your leads funnel through. Sometimes you can miss stuff on Facebook and command will update you and say, hey, Rach. It doesn't say Rach, it says my full name. It says Rachel. It'll say, hey, Rachel, if you've got a lead that's come in, you should follow up with them. So I hope that's helpful. In our social media class, we actually don't deep dive that hard, but I will if you ask. I think that's a fun question. And social media really is.
Yeah, I just wanted to, this is Cameron again. I just wanted to re-shout out Tristan. We already got up, and anybody that's in the New Jersey market, we're in the Montclair office. You want to join our accountability group, holla at us. We are, we're building that out.
I love it. That's great. Love the shout out. All right, here we go. So part of your success system includes social media and other things, enrichment, like writing cards and making phone calls. The 10-5-1 on social media. Do y'all know what that is? Thumbs up, thumbs down. I got to expand my screen so I can see. Thumbs up, thumbs down. 10-5-1. All right. I'm so excited. I have 50-50 so I can explain this and it'll be good. All right. So 10-5-1, like 10 posts per day. You're probably already doing this. Like 10 posts a day. In the land of social media, they want you to be social. It has to be reciprocal. You can't just get on there and post some fancy stat and then leave. It's like walking into a room and saying Keller Williams holds 16.8% of the Middle Tennessee market and then just leaving. Like, you need to have conversations with people. So liking 10 posts per day is important. It tells the algorithm, it tells the social media platforms, I'm active on here, and this is the content that I like. So again, going back to imagining who your ideal buyer is, who your ideal seller is, who, what your ideal market is, where you want to be buying and selling, picking that person and liking 10 things per day in that niche. Does that make sense? Are we thumbs up? Okay, awesome. Write 5 comments a day, same thing. And there are sometimes where I'll just do like emojis, because I guess it's a millennial thing to do. I don't know, dead emoji, confetti emoji, happy emoji, melting emoji. I would not consider that in one of my 5 comments. I would try and give some really good quality words of affirmation to somebody, commenting on new babies that are born. Everybody loves a wedding, an engagement, commenting on those things. But also just the everyday stuff. You went to Dollywood. That looks so exciting. What else did you do? Trying to create opportunities for conversations, even if they're not surrounding real estate. Being a presence is important. And then sending 1 direct message per day. Is anybody intimidated by direct messages? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I like the thumbs down on that one. So just as long as you're not sliding into someone's DMs and being like, hey, I haven't talked to you since college. I'm selling real estate now. Are you interested? I think you're going to be okay. So stories are a great way to get into people's DMs, because they're already sharing something with you in a sort of one-on-one way. They shared a funny meme. Respond to the story. That is a DM. That's a direct message. That is what DM stands for those that may not know that. So send 1 direct message. Once you get into the habit of it, it gets so easy just to have conversations with people.
Do you recommend using the DTD2 for this? Or do you think it should be more something that's kind of organically happening?
Organic.
Yeah.
1000%.
Yeah.
People can smell that kind of system on social media from a mile away. And it's the same kind of like copy pasting. Hey girl, I saw that you had a baby. Here's something for you to help you after that. I don't know. I'm trying not to be too specific. But don't copy paste a template, just be yourself. And I think that's how you're going to get the most and the best responses, because it's not just about trying to find somebody who's ready to buy or sell. It's about genuinely being a good person, coming from contribution and saying, hey, that meme about picking up toys is like brushing your teeth with Oreos or something like that. You connect on those levels, and people like that. And then over time, they're going to ask you questions. And that's what's important, is starting to build the relationships online so that you can answer questions about real estate. Does anybody have any other questions about the 10-5-1 system?
I have a question. Should these come from your business profile or your personal?
It depends on the platform. It just depends on the platform. On Facebook, I would do it just from your profile. You have the ability to do that from like a business profile, but in my opinion, Facebook is just so much more of a pay to play kind of place. If you're doing it from your business profile, it takes some of the personality and some of the personableness away. So I would do it just from your regular profile. If you meet somebody, friend them. I wouldn't be afraid of doing that in this industry at all. If you're feeling a little funny, just maybe talk with yourself or talk with your spouse about, what sharing your children might look like, being in an industry where everybody friends everybody all the time. But your Facebook profile, your personal profile, is where I would do this 10-5-1. Instagram, I am a huge proponent of having a separate like real estate business related Instagram account. Or if you're going to use your personal one, it needs to be turned into a business account. And we can talk about that during our social media thing. But I do everything out of one account on Instagram now. I started off trying to do 2, and it was just too hard to have a personal account and a professional account, especially when I share so much of my personal life on my professional account. TikTok, same thing. If you're going to be on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, I think YouTube's going to be even bigger in 2023 than what it's been over the past decade. Introducing shorts was a big deal. YouTube's response to TikTok and Instagram Reels. Most of my shorts have done better than my Reels and TikToks have done anyway. So I think YouTube's really trying to push some of their new features. I think 2023 is going to be an easy year an easy year to grow on YouTube. But you need to do that as well on YouTube, finding other people who are sharing content like yours, so that you can grow your community. Any other questions about 10-5-1? I think it should take you about 10 minutes in the morning. Honestly, I don't think it's going to take very long. So time block out about 10 minutes to do your 10-5-1 and knock it out.
Just curious, is there a reason why the 10-5-1 doesn't include actually like sharing information with your audience?
Oh, because we talk about that later. We definitely do that, but we talk about that later. This is just the method for being in relationship with people. I mean, there's content strategies. You can post 3 times a week until your fingers turn blue, but if you're not talking to people on social media, what's the point? I follow Jason Pantana on Instagram. If you want to learn more about social media marketing, he makes it very easy. He's one of the Tom Ferry coach people, but he's out of Nashville. He makes it very simple for you to understand. But he says that if you aren't posting online, if you're not creating relationships online, you might as well hang a closed sign up. Because like I said, even when we're looking in those referral networks, if I'm trying to find somebody to send my New Jersey client to, I might find them in the KW piece, but I'm going to vet them online before I actually make the phone call to make the connection. So you have to create a space for agents and potential clients to find you.
So this pretty much is the lead up to actually sharing the information. So do this first is what you're saying, and then eventually get to that.
You'll do both. And we'll get into it a whole lot deeper in the social media class, where we talk about what to share, when to share it. The 80-20 rule applies there. You share 80% of your personal life, and then 20% would be real estate. Because again, you're creating relationships on social media more so than you are selling a business. And that's the same with all of this information that I shared today. This is the groundwork of what you're going to share online. So I'll hop into my stories in the morning and tell people what I'm doing for the day, or I'll take them with me whenever I go shopping at Marshall's because it just opened and we love Marshall's. And then at some point I'll throw in, hey, by the way, what I found out about real estate today. Or, hey, here's the stats that the office shared, and this is what we're looking like this month. My most responded to stories was about Harry Potter. I mean, like I share stuff all the time about real estate, and I'll get some responses, mostly from my mom and grandma, but I post something about Harry Potter 4, the movie, and everybody gets their panties in a wad. But that's the kind of stuff that makes you memorable. So, and we'll talk more about that once we do the social media class later on. Is there anything that y'all have posted that you've gotten a lot of engagement on like that? Like, what's your Harry Potter?
I haven't posted nothing since I'm new. I haven't really been posting, but I have got engagement on. I posted my website on my story, and I gave my little backstory of how I got into it, and I've got a good amount of engagement on that.
That's great. Everybody loves a good story. That's where I'll say it the same every time I'm in I say that and then I'm going to botch it because we're being recorded. But the reason I got into real estate was to help people buy homes that they could afford so they could use the rest of their resources to live the life of their dreams. And every piece of content that I post is kind of surrounding that. The life of my dreams included a 26-foot travel trailer that I could carry my kids to whatever state park across the US, and we could just have fun as a family. That was what I wanted to do. And real estate helped me fund that, but buying real estate that I could afford so that I could do that was part of the journey as well. And so it's easy to be able to preach to those sorts of things. So if you have a really good story about why you got into real estate or, why you're trying to help people, then you're going to be able to connect with people better.
So I kind of use my daughter in a way. She goes to work with me. She's almost a year old, so we get all the really cute little smiles and whatnot right now. So this last one I did, I put my little name tag on her and got all excited because I just got it, in my little box. And everyone absolutely loved it. And I got a lot of response from her little pictures.
I love that. And I think a lot of people are starting to recognize the importance of kids going to work with you too. Usually I'll sit with people up front and say, I have two boys. They're important to me. They're a huge reason why I do real estate. Sometimes they're going to come along. They're expert light switchers, and sometimes they talk a lot. So just bear with me. But I think just setting the expectation up front, and I've never had somebody say, I can't use you because your boys might possibly come with you. I have personally thought about quitting because my boys had to come with me, but That's a different story.
I kind of have been actually struggling with that a little bit, like when I actually get into the point where I'm going out more with people. So I kind of thank you for touching on that because I haven't been sure how to approach that yet.
Yeah, just set the expectation up front. People respect women in business. People respect parents in business, regardless of whether you're mom or dad. If you have to bring your kids with you, then just set that up. Set that up from the front end. Now, another thing, and I think there's some groups on this too, mom real estate groups, but vet your people really well. Don't meet somebody for the first time with your kids in tow. And that's really it. Don't show up to a house on a Zillow lead and not know that they are a safe person. But I also had the Tula, the backpack, the baby Ergo baby. It was so much easier when their hands and feet weren't moving freely.
Yeah, she kind of just got to the point where now if I put her in that, she likes to pull my hair and whatnot. So we do more of letting her be free. But thank you for that information.
Yeah, absolutely. You have my email. So if you need any help, you just let me know. All right, let's see if I can get this to move to the next slide. There we go. Other enrichments. What are some other things that you can do to stay on top of the market, things that you can share? Let me ask this question. What would the benefit of going and looking at homes without a client be? So you see that something's hit the market, you don't have anybody that's interested in it, but you're going to go and preview that home. What are the benefits of previewing homes?
I often do that just to show it to my clients that I'm out there. And then if someone's interested in purchasing that home and they don't have an agent, then, they know that they can get it through me.
Yes, I love that. Those are things that you can share. Now check with your local MLS and make sure that sharing other people's listings is legal. But most of the time I'll tell them like, hey, I'm using my neighborhood a lot. I'm in Terra Estates today. I'm looking at this house over on Ashley Drive, 3-bed, 2-bath. I can't wait to see inside. Sometimes I'll share the inside. It just depends on who it is that has it listed. And then I'll come back out and give a report. If you're looking for a fixer upper, then this is for you. Here's some loan types that you can use. This is a great neighborhood. This one just needs a little bit of love or whatever. What are some other benefits of previewing homes?
Well, as I said, I'm a new agent, so I don't have experience yet doing this, but I would absolutely imagine that I would want the opportunity to preview a home because I would hate to go with my client for the first time and discover things that I think I would have preferred to be able to talk to my client about up front and make sure that they're on board with or not on board with, or just, maybe there's certain things that I want to be able to preface or craft in a way that helps to sell the home or make the home seem more appealing, and to be able to see that ahead of time, that way I can maybe do my homework. If it's say something that's going to have to be fixed or renovated, I would have time to do my homework ahead of time and be more prepared for the showing with my client.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Before I got into real estate, my realtor, I sent him a house and he was like, okay, I've already been to this one and here's what I saw. And it ruled it out. It saved me an hour of my day whenever we were going to look at homes. So that's definitely a great tool, is knowing what you're getting into before you get into it, especially when you're new. As time goes on, you're not going to be able to preview every home before you take a client into it, like separate showings. But right now is a great time to be able to go into them and just get to know, because that's important. Layout's a big deal. Where people are going to put their furniture is a big deal, but there's a lot of other systems that come along with a house that you probably need to familiarize yourself with as well. Previewing houses also helps you with pricing. So if you're just looking around, I have a client that might list a home that's in the $300,000 price range. I'm seeing these on the MLS, but I'm not getting a really great idea of what they really are in comparison to the house that I've got about to list. I'll go and take a look at them. Here's 3 others on the market that are similar to yours, and here's what's different between them. A little compare and contrast. All right. Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Obviously, there's a lot of great things in there. Have y'all started to read that? Have your market centers given you a copy of that? So I took mine to Office Max and had them bind it, so that it'll lay flat on my desk. So go get it bound, and that way you can write some good notes in it. But it's a great It's a great thing. Take an MLS course. I already talked about that. Previewing homes, study your market center reports, and then study the language of real estate.
If I could recommend one other book, because the MREA was, I mean, just life changing. I feel like another one that's a super quick read that also kind of changed my life is The One Thing. That is also a fantastic book. If I were to recommend another one, because I find it as, you know, as dual agent and as coming into this, you know, career relatively new, really being able to focus in on specific things that need to get done so that you don't feel like all these different things that are coming at you, all these great ideas that are coming at you, you have to feel like you have to do every single one of them. The One Thing really kind of helps you focus and figure out what's important to you and then how to achieve that in individual and really tiny steps. So I definitely recommend, after MREA, definitely looking at The One Thing.
I love that. So yes, The One Thing is definitely also life-changing. So this class, this has been a lot of information for you today. If you could nail down one thing, how about we take 3 one things from this class? If you could nail down one thing from today's class that you need to do every single day to be on top of your market, what would that be?
There is something hit the window. I don't know if it's a cat or something else.
Does anybody have a one thing?
The 1051.
Everyone's putting it in the chat and you said you can't see it.
Oh no.
Everything's going in the chat.
Y'all are inspirational. I can feel it through the 17 chats that I can't see. You know what? Let's stop my share. I'm going to stop my share because I can see it whenever I'm not sharing. So, all right, I got it. Go ahead, Miss Lauren.
Yes, daily market updates, getting those on a daily basis, and just as much as possible, like in the morning, just making sure you're aware of what's out there.
Yes, that's huge. Time blocking 10, 15, maybe 30 minutes, depending on how long it takes you to kind of trudge through whatever your area looks like just in the morning. All right.
Joining the Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary. I'm going to look into that tomorrow.
Yeah, you should. And you're in Murfreesboro, so I can connect you. Brian Johnson is in Rotary. Wrong Brian. Brian Nail is in Rotary in Murfreesboro. So ask him, tell him you're interested, and he'll take you as a guest.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Commenting on social media posts, live outside your mortgage and being involved in the community. I can't tell you just how beautiful it is. That was the hardest 2 years. I will never make homemade biscuits again in my life. Although I love them, they taste good. I did not make them with love. I made them because I couldn't buy the frozen ones. And so when I get paychecks, I'm really grateful that I can go buy some frozen Grants. All right. How are y'all doing with your 10 conversations, 10 contacts added, and then 10 handwritten notes? Have y'all been doing that? No. What's holding you back? What's keeping you from doing that? You're like, I wish I wouldn't have answered now.
I'm still new and still working full time and just haven't had an adequate amount of time. And I'm like brand new.
Okay.
Still don't know a lot yet. Just trying to take in as much as I can.
Absolutely. I love that. If I had to start with one, I would do the handwritten notes. They're super, and you can write a handwritten note about anything. It doesn't have to be, hey, I'm in real estate now. But I think mail, especially whenever it's got a handwritten name on the outside, gets opened more often now. I think we're flooding email inboxes more than we're flooding actual physical mailboxes. So a handwritten note feels nice sometimes. Awesome. Okay. I think all that's left is me telling you that you're not supposed to call people on the do not call list. But since this is being recorded, I'm going to screen share and make sure that you're totally aware of that. So hold on one second, pull this back up. All right, so we're just gonna recap real quick. Type of market, we talked about buyers, sellers, and neutral market. We talked about knowing what your inventory is, and talked about rates, economic factors in the community, like we talked about a minute ago with John, joining Rotary, paying attention to the TACC or to your Chamber of Commerce. Getting online and watching. Don't go to the Board of Mayor Alderman meetings. You can be interested without actually showing your face. They will loop you into something. You'll be signed up for something by the time you leave if you go. So just watch it online, get on Facebook and pay attention to what's happening. Join any groups. We've got one called Save Tullahoma right now. I might not agree with everything that they're talking about, but I'm in it so that I can see and hear what it is that people are trying to save Tullahoma from. Build your expertise, learn your market, learn the clientele, listen to individuals, and then it's your job to keep everything in context. No pressure, but your 10 minutes in the morning should help. All right. I think we did it. I think I'm early by like 25 minutes. So either you love that.
Put a chat in there, Rachel.
Here, I'll stop sharing and I'll go over to the chat now. Yeah, so I'm early. So does anybody else have any questions? I don't see anything, Heather.
Oh, it didn't go through.
I don't see it. Hey, you know what? Before we do our social media, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to prep for our social media class that I have in several other weeks. Put in the chat. I would like for everybody to just put in the chat their handles. If you've got an Instagram or a Facebook page, throw in the chat what it is.
There it is.
I know you said that you were going to give us, I guess, a way to check out our stat in our market.
Ask that question again.
I said, I know you said you were going to give us some information on how to check our stats for our particular market.
You should talk to your market center, your MCA, I think is the one, or find your team leader and ask them. Because I can show you for Tennessee where to find it in RealTracs, but I don't know about your individual market. So if you will contact somebody in your office, they should give you a resource on where to find those stats. And your office should be sharing stats too. If they're not sharing stats in your market and you want it, for example, I am in Tullahoma and my market center is in Murfreesboro, and that's an hour away. And they weren't doing Coffee County stats. And so I asked, like, hey, we've got X number of agents down here. We could really use some Coffee County stats. So what if we don't have a team lead? The person at the front desk should be able to help you too. Whoever your front desk person is, just ask them, who can teach me how to do this, or find a seasoned agent in your office. They should know how to access it too.
But you did say it was something in MLS, right? That you could look at stats.
It's in MLS, yes. And I mean, if you go to like the about page, or you go to the FAQs, frequently asked questions in your on your MLS, it should be able to give you a step-by-step on how to do that. So let's all follow each other online, because that's important. We've got all of our information. We've got all of our information shared like in a contacts list, but I'm on social media every single day. Like there's not a day I'm not popping my face online and saying hello, even if it's just to myself or my grandma. So you're going to be able to make a lot of contacts every single day by sharing online. So any other questions about today's classes, specifically knowing your market? Very good. All right. Well, I'll hang out for another 5 or 10 minutes unless everybody leaves me. But I think we could probably just call it for the night. How do y'all feel about that? Yeah. No cheers. Cheers and confetti. My coach called me confetti girl because I am a confetti girl. I have a whole stack of confetti in this closet. Every time somebody closes, like we pop confetti at the title company. I tell them it's biodegradable. They tell me it's not, but I'm going to keep believing it's biodegradable. But I have my confetti glasses and a confetti hat that I'll wear if I ever have to Zoom a transaction. Confetti girl strikes again, what she says. But it's fun. Good. I'm glad you learned a lot. I'm glad it was informative and helpful. Any feedback's great. Like I said, this was my first Zoom class, and it would the silence definitely threw me off a little bit. I kind of like warm bodies in a room. My email, I'll put my email in here too. So if you have any questions, you can email me.
I know.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you said you were an agent, I guess, somewhere else in a different brokerage. What do you think helped you transition from moving and excel in your career where you're at now without knowing anyone?
Yes. So I think just being open to being uncomfortable is important. When you walk into a room, just don't know a stranger. Meet as many people as you can. I was at a local brokerage, and then I ended up hanging my license with the KW, which is not currently a local brokerage in my area. So I had to overcome some barriers of, well, we don't want to use a Murfreesboro agent. I'm like, I can show you my tax card. Like I live and pay taxes here. And so just trying to keep that very clear was important. Doing as many educational things as possible was huge. A lot of learning. And I think that'll be what I do probably for the rest of my career. Is a lot of learning. The market changes so fast now. It's hard not to need to learn a lot very frequently. So whatever it is that your market center offers, then go ahead and do it. And if your market center is connected with other market centers, you can check their stuff out too. If you're not really thrilled with what's going on, or if you see something interesting somewhere else. So our market center also operates a market center in Nashville and in Franklin. And so we have the ability to go and see some of the things that they're doing as well as ours. Anybody else?
Hey, Rachel, it's Karen. I just have a question. I'm like a brand new agent, dual agent as well. So I was just curious to learn from, your experience. I know you mentioned you started into real estate as well. So what would you recommend has been pretty successful to, help market yourself?
Yes, social media, like you really, and put your face on there. Don't be afraid to show your face and speak with your mouth. A lot of people will tell me, but I don't like how I look and I don't like how I sound. And I'm like, I am so sorry, but that is what the world, like, that's what we see. That's what you look like and that's what you sound like. And if you're not willing to just go ahead and put yourself out there, then you're not going to learn to be better. The best part about starting off is that the people who love you the most are going to follow you first. And so when you look the extra dumbest is when only the people who can love you unconditionally are watching it. If I go back 3 years ago and look through some of my stories, I mean, I look like a different person. I know that I present myself in a totally different way. I'm not used to social media, and trying to figure it out was a little challenging. But stories are the easiest way to do it. They disappear in 24 hours. You pop in, you say something silly, either you delete it because you're embarrassed or you just wait 24 hours and it goes away. But stories is where I make the best connections on social media. But if you're brand new and you're trying to grow your brand, it's hard to have hundreds of conversations in a week. So I also started when the pandemic hit. I got my license like a week before they shut the testing centers down. And so I couldn't meet anybody in real life. It was online networking. When they finally opened up and I met people in real life, it was like, I know you. You're a lot taller than I thought you were. Was that helpful? Did that answer the question? Go follow Jason Pantana on Instagram specifically. He posts a lot of stuff on Instagram, and it can feel like a lot, but just listen to his social media strategies. He's really helpful.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't know how many people are left here. 32. Oh my gosh, 32 of you are still here. I said I'd be here for 5 to 10 more minutes. Anybody else? Any questions? Any thoughts?
We're not moving from here tonight.
I know, you're like, I said I was gonna be here till 7:30. I'm gonna be here till 7:30. I'll get pizza.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm out of here. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right.
Have a
I'll
great
see you in
week.
a couple of weeks.
I'd like to see you in the office sometime, Rachel.
Yeah, I
Take care.
know. Hey, I'll be there soon. We'll have to talk about that.
All right.
Bye.